Greetings from the Freedom Wellbeing Institute. Welcome to this session about key universal wellbeing change and transformation strategies. So many of our clients are beginning to undertake universal wellbeing evaluations, and these evaluations lead to the person receiving a report that gives them information about the status of their 70 different universal wellbeing determinants. As people look at their reports and have an opportunity to discuss these with facilitators, they often see areas that may be or are causing harm to their overall universal well-being. So the facilitators they work with have the capacity to support these clients to begin to make changes or transformations if they wish. I will now explain some of the strategies that our facilitators use to support people to undertake changes or transformations of their choosing. You can see in this picture that we have a riverbed where water is gradually running over rocks, and over time that effort will gradually mould and change or transform the rocks against which it moves. Change and transformation for people is similar. It is often through ongoing small efforts that we can achieve major changes and transformations that really will support us to thrive and have very positive universal well-being. A key strategy we use to support people is to assist them to learn about meditation. Often when people have universal well-being challenges, they're feeling stressed and anxious, or their mind is busy. So the first two strategies I'm going to talk about that help change and transformation are designed to counter those kinds of impacts. So meditation is a practice and a skill where we learn to focus the mind initially on our breath and then in the present moment. So meditation has this wonderful capacity to help slow our thoughts, give our mind a rest or a holiday, which allows us to heal and then be able to and better positioned to address any well-being harms we might be experiencing. A similar approach we use is mindfulness. Now, mindfulness activities help us to become aware and to be present in the moment. Often when we're stressed and anxious or worried, or we have reoccurring thoughts, or we ruminate, we will find our mind is focused on something that happened in the past, or something that we have a fear may happen in the future. Mindfulness allows us to come back into a center position where we can center ourselves, we can relax our mind, we can focus, we can gather energy, and we can rest and heal so that we can better prepare to make any changes that we choose to make. Another key strategy we use is reframing. So reframing is a very important skill. It's a skill in being able to see a situation from different points of view. We often talk about some people we know as living their lives through rose-coloured spectacles, and what we mean is that these people seem to see everything in a very positive way. Learning to see how we are sitting and viewing a situation can be very helpful, and then developing the ability to take that same situation and see it from different perspectives. For example, we might have a current overwhelming challenge or problem we're trying to solve. Sometimes if we consider how much of a problem will this be in 10 years' time, we might from that position see that actually this problem is not going to exist. It's just a short-term problem that's going to resolve in some way. Perhaps we can control it, perhaps we can't. But this ability to walk and see things from different perspectives, we call reframing. When we use it in relation to relationships, it's also called empathy, that ability to see things from other people's perspectives. But sometimes we can solve or resolve challenges by simply reframing them in another way or viewing them from a different perspective. So this strategy can be very helpful to getting us to make a change or transform some challenge we're facing. Reflection is another skill that's very important. So reflection is a process of responding to experiences we have, whether they're good and we want them to happen again, or whether perhaps they're negative and we want to avoid them happening again. So reflection is a strategy where we move through a series of questions that are designed to help our mind to process a situation and to acquire new learning, so that we in turn then choose to change our behaviour or transform our behaviour in some way. So it's a form of processing, a thinking skill. Education is a process of learning new knowledge, skills and or attitudes, and these help us to develop, grow and change. So the process of education is very important in actually transforming and improving our universal well-being. Designed to assist us in our processes are facilitators. So facilitators who facilitate, their job is to make the process of learning new knowledge, skills or attitudes easier through presenting information in interactive ways, making it relevant to us, perhaps presenting it in multi-sensory ways, so what we're learning is much more powerful and has more impact on us. And then they can also assist us to see this new learning and how it personally relates to us and can be meaningful. So this process can again support us to transform or change our universal well-being or parts of it to get a better to be in a better state and to be able to thrive and achieve what we want to. We define learning very much as psychologists do in the field of universal well-being. So we see that if learning has occurred and it's been impactful, it will lead to, new learning will lead to a relatively permanent change in behaviour. So for example, if we have some activity we're doing, maybe we spend all day on our cell phone, we play games until we have headaches. If we can learn to perhaps view that or learn more information about what that's doing to us, we may make a permanent change. We may choose to use our cell phone in a different way to improve our universal well-being and to prevent us from getting those headaches. Skilled also, our facilitators can identify where they need to remove, minimise or manage risks. Whenever we change from doing one thing and we start moving to another, there are risks and challenges in that change process, and many of these can be quite scary. So the facilitator or coaches you work with are very helpful and practiced in helping to stop and reduce the possibility of events that could cause you hurt or harm while you are engaging in a process of changing or transforming behaviours that you've elected to work on. A second last strategy we use is that of advice, but our facilitators and coaches tend to give those they work with options and then model critical thinking, or what we call evaluative thinking. So they support the process of identifying options about new things we could do and then evaluating the pros and cons of each of those options in order to support us to make an independent decision to choose a course of action and to pursue that with a view to improving our universal well-being. Our final strategy is that of referrals. Because the universal well-being model includes 70 determinants of universal well-being, sometimes the facilitator or coach that you work with may decide that the area in which you wish to change or prevent a harm or hurt to your universal well-being might be better supported by another person with expertise. So in this case, our facilitators and our coaches have the ability to identify and refer from an external expert network we support them with, other people that might be able to assist you in taking those steps to change certain areas. So this gives you wonderful resources and ensures that you always have the best possible help for your change or transformation journey. As you can see from this picture of the universal wellbeing model, you can see that we have sensory inputs that come into us that are processed by our brain, and then these inputs reveal themselves as behaviours, and on the sides we've listed the 70 determinants of universal well-being. So these are areas of behaviour where we might want to change. For example, if we look at the top of the column on the left, we can see self-talk. We may identify that we experience a lot of negative self-talk, and this might be something we wish to change. Or for example, if we look to the right side, we may see that sleep. We may sleep very well, or we may in fact have difficulty sleeping, and this might be again a behaviour we wish to change to support our overall universal well-being. Across the top we've listed the 5 principles in brief, so holistic, balanced, integrated, empowering and responsive. So as facilitators or coaches work with you, they will be using these principles to support balanced development of your universal well-being so that you begin to operate in an optimal way, and you feel happier with how you are, and you have the understandings to be able to look after your well-being and keep it in a positive place over time. If you would like any more information, please don't hesitate to go to our website, check out information about our programs and our universal wellbeing evaluations and our organisational services, or you could email us, or perhaps if you have an interest in understanding more about our theory of change, or you're interested in doing research, then I suggest you go to our director email and make contact. I hope this brief summary of the change and transformation strategies that our facilitators and coaches use is of value to you. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you again. Don't forget to press that subscribe button to have access to more current information as we release it. Thank you for joining me today.